Highway 191, Whispers of the Desert. Highway 191 slices through the barren heart of Utah like a scalpel across bone. It's a desolate stretch of road, beautiful and brutal in equal measure. The sun casts long, unforgiving shadows across the red earth, where dust devils swirl like spirits searching for something lost. The mesas loom in the distance, ancient sentinels watching with silence older than memory. Tourists see the beauty, the arches, the buttes, the endless sky. But those who have driven this road at night, those who have listened carefully to the wind, know there is something else out here. Something that lives beneath the sun-cracked asphalt. Something that remembers. This isn't just a road through the desert. It's a fracture in reality. A scar, a gateway to something older than time. We thought it was just another road trip. Chloe and I had planned it for months. A week-long loop through national parks and ghost towns, living out of the back of the Jeep, chasing sunsets and freedom. We were recent college grads with a sense of invincibility and a playlist full of 90s rock and ambient desert beats. We had no destination really, just motion, just the allure of open space. Freedom, right? I said as we passed through Moab, the last hint of civilization. Just endless road and sky. Chloe laughed, her hand hanging out the window, fingers catching the wind like a kid again. Exactly! No parents, no rules, no deadlines, just us and the Jeep, and maybe a haunted gas station or two. We laughed. We were still laughing when the Jeep crested the next hill, still laughing when the static hit the radio, still laughing when the GPS blinked and died. That laughter was the last normal sound I remember. I don't know when the sky changed. One moment it was clear, the kind of blue that humbles you. The next, the horizon melted, warped. Like heat waves, but wrong, too cold. The light didn't feel right anymore. Everything shimmered, like we were underwater, or dreaming. The steering wheel vibrated in my hands, a low hum thrumming through the metal and into my bones. I blinked, and suddenly we weren't on the road anymore. The Jeep was parked, the engine off, total silence. No music, no wind, no sound, just the desert unnaturally still. "Chloe," I whispered. My voice didn't sound right, as if it had been recorded and played back. She stirred in the passenger seat like waking from a deep sleep. What just happened?" she asked, voice groggy. I looked at the clock on the dashboard. We had lost 3 hours, just gone. No signs of sleep, phones fully charged, no dirt on the tires, no mileage gained. It was as if the universe had paused and resumed without us. Chloe stepped out, barefoot on the dust. "I feel strange," she said, and her eyes were wide, unfocused. She walked toward a cluster of rocks nearby. Her movements were deliberate, like she was being pulled. I followed, calling her name, but she didn't respond. She just kept walking until she reached the largest rock and placed her hand on its surface. That's when she started whispering. At first, I thought it was nonsense, just gibberish, the kind people mutter when they're not fully awake. But then I caught the cadence, a rhythm, words. "Hojo nahasli," she murmured. "Dine bikea." I froze. That wasn't English. It wasn't Spanish either. It was Navajo. But Chloe doesn't speak Navajo. She's never studied it. I asked her once if she even knew the word hozo. She thought it was a yoga pose. Yet here she was, reciting Navajo phrases like she was possessed. Her voice wasn't her own. It sounded deeper, layered, like two people speaking at once. I asked her again what she was saying, and she turned to me, eyes glassy and far away. "They're not words," she said. "They're memories." And then she began to draw. She didn't take out a pencil or anything. She just knelt and started tracing in the sand with her finger. Symbols, spirals, crosses within circles. Ancient markings that I recognized only because I had seen them etched into canyon walls days earlier. But these weren't random doodles. They were precise, practiced, confident, as if she had drawn them 1,000 times before. The symbols began to glow. Faintly at first, like phosphorescence in the deep sea. Then brighter, humming with energy. I stumbled back, heart pounding. The desert around us seemed to pulse with it. A low vibration spread through the ground, the kind you don't hear but feel in your spine. Chloe was speaking again, but it wasn't her voice. It was older, wiser. It told of a tribe, ancient even to the Dine, who believed the desert was alive, conscious. That certain places were thin, like cracked glass, where time bled through. These places weren't meant for humans. They were sacred, dangerous, forbidden. I tried to pull Chloe away from the rocks, but she wouldn't move. Her body was rigid, eyes fixed on something I couldn't see. Then, without warning, she collapsed. The glow vanished. The symbols faded. And the desert returned to silence. We made it back to the Jeep somehow. I drove for what felt like hours before the GPS came back online. When it did, we were less than a mile from where we had stopped. Time made no sense anymore. Chloe didn't speak the rest of the night. She stared out the window, clutching the quarter I'd found in her coat pocket. She said it had been given to her by someone in a dream, someone ancient, someone who told her to never return. Weeks later, I looked up the symbols she'd drawn. I found references to places of crossing in old Navajo lore, spots where ancestors walked between worlds. Some called them portals, others haunted doorways. I found one account from a 1937 journal of a road surveyor who vanished for 2 days on Highway 191 and returned unable to speak, with strange carvings on his boots. He died in a psychiatric hospital a year later. Highway 191 is more than a scenic drive. It's a wound in the desert, a ripple in time, a place where memories that don't belong to you can take root in your mind and grow into something terrifying. I don't know what really happened out there. I only know what we felt, what we saw, what we lost. And I know now why locals avoid that stretch of road after dark. Because something watches, something waits, and sometimes it speaks. If you believe the desert holds more than sand and sky, then you're not alone. Like this video and subscribe for more twisted tales from America's most haunted roads. Share this story with someone who loves mysteries that blur the line between past and present. We'll be back next week with another drive into the unexplainable.